Solstice blessings, everybody. I hope you are all doing very well out there. I know it's been a very long time since I've put a video up on this channel, and there's been a reason for that. I've actually been kind of holding back from coming to put up anything on integrative mysticism. I'm sure if you are a subscriber to the Son of Selene channel, of course you know I've been still putting up videos and putting up content there because I got to keep the lights on. I got to eat. For those of you who, were not up to date on what's been going on, Persephone passed away at the end of September. And so I have been in a pretty low space since then. And while I am able to, of course, compose myself to do work, it may also show up, in my videos, just where I have been in that respect. And so I've kind of taken some time away. It is easier for me to focus more on the reading content and the astrology and the tarot. And of course, I've been doing readings for clients this whole time because that's a different experience than coming up and making a video, getting personal, and getting more creative with what I want to talk about. In fact, honestly, when it comes to doing readings for clients, or even readings for YouTube, it has been a nice little break from, some of the stuff I've been processing and working through, because when I do readings, right, the personality is there, but the ego is gone, and everything that I'm dealing with and I'm going through and, what's happening in my world kind of gets compartmentalized. And so that's sort of been my way of, getting a chance to still be productive and active, right? Because you don't want a reader who is bringing all of their experience, their life to a given reading, and kind of processing their stuff as they are doing a reading for you, right? A good reader is going to be able to kind of, the ego moves aside, the me life, the my life kind of thing moves aside, and so that I can do a reading for you or do a reading for whatever. I get to step out of my life when I do the readings, and so that's been a bit of a nice break. It's a bit different on this channel. This channel, again, is sort of my, I don't know, it's a much more deeply personal place, right? Nobody's ever going to really get to know who I am or come to understand my personality or what I'm all about with just Son of Selene, right? They're not really going to get to the core or understand me or my practice or, anything if they just kind of watch the tarot and astrology videos. And again, that's just, in my opinion, part of being a good reader. You need to be able to step out of your life to do a good reading for somebody else. And so that's a big part of it. And so I haven't been over here because of that, but I have been over there because of that. It's been a very tough couple of months, I must say. I went into a deep depression. I'm sure it was very visible. But I've also been dealing with a lot of the anxieties and a lot of the issues that were cropping up internally and externally for me in the months prior to Persephone's passing as well, because it was a bit of a journey from about early August until the end of September there, and especially in September, while I was doing my best to kind of keep up my spirits and keep productive, behind the scenes, I was absolutely, a wreck. And that has to do with the fact that this cat, she's the last of four of a little family that I had, that I've been basically taking care of, that have been my family since my final year of college. Persephone was not that old, but I got her mother, her adoptive mother, way back when, and then after that, her older brother Toby, and then Rambo, and then finally Persephone. And so it kind of hit me in a lot of different ways, what was going on internally. These cats essentially, in so many ways, were my bulwark against a lot of the issues of life. And they were a place where I could really be vulnerable and give and receive an unconditional love that honestly I do not actually have a lot of experience with when it comes to humans. That kind of hit me. Also, the fact that she was the last of the four kind of brought up all of the not really completely grieving or handling or facing, what was going on when, say, Rambo died or Toby left or Rosie died, because there was always another cat, and I would just basically take everything that I gave to whatever cat passed away, and I would just extra invest in the cats who were with me in the physical still. And so kind of going through the shock of not having anywhere for that love to go, it really kind of messed me up. And so I was like, I know how to do this to a certain degree. And so that's kind of also another reason for the break and the space that I needed to take. I also wanted to make sure that I took the time to mourn and go through this in a way that wasn't running or diverting or distracting from what's going on with me, and making sure that I can still honor her transition and maintain and even, again, reconcile and reconnect what I really wanted, with my relationships with them, the way one would want with any ancestor once, the transition process has happened. And so it was like, all right, normally when something like this happens, I get crazy busy. I might do something big to drastically change an element of my life. So I'm adjusting to something else. When Rambo died, there was a move. And when Persephone's mom died, Rosie, back in 2013, there was a big move. Something to kind of feed my brain as sort of an external stimulation. And I kind of realized I didn't want to do that. Not with her. Which, again, it's kind of weird. A lot of people were like, well, why are you doing readings still? And it's like, well, while I want to immerse myself in this, I think the readings and the work, I need to be able to stay productive. I need to put food on the table. And I also, get a break when I do readings. And so it's like, I wasn't afraid to do readings for people. Yeah, I had a little bit less patience for, a couple of, let's just say, dysregulated and irreverent clients, but, don't bring that to my table even when I'm having a good day. I didn't really sign up for that. I didn't. Readers don't sign up to be tanking, you know, the unstable emotions and the anger that you can't control. So, I wouldn't even welcome that on a good day, and I probably wouldn't have been much nicer on a good day. And weirdly enough, my readings have been getting a lot more profound, a lot more intense, and a lot more deeply real when I'm working with people. And I think a big part of that has to do with the fact that, well, I've been also spending a lot of nights in meditation and, maintaining, sort of a line of communication with my guides. And, Persephone has been very vocal and communicative as well. She was telling me that she was fixing to go as early as late August. And that kind of, again, was also something that I was struggling to deal with in the final weeks there. October was like one day for me. And to be perfectly honest, I think that I was pretty much in a waking coma. When I wasn't doing readings, I was pretty much in a waking coma from the beginning of October, probably all the way up until about the end of November. And what was interesting was that once I got to the end of November, I started to kind of just, I don't want to say automatically, but it felt that way, sort of automatically, miraculously kind of come back to life, come back into my body. And it was almost like something that my spirit and my nervous system and whatever were all just kind of agreeing to do all at once. That was nice. That was actually really, really good. Um, I also had inquired about that, I had, because one of the big things that you go through when you, you know, is that you go, did I do the right thing? Did I hurry to, did I jump the gun? Um, was this the thing that she wanted? And, you know, did I try hard enough? Why didn't I go and max out this? And why didn't I go do that? Why didn't I go do that? And, um, in one of my sessions, right, one of my communications with her, and with my guides, she made it abundantly clear. She was like, this is the closure that you need. We just passed the point of this. If you had fought tooth and nail to keep me alive, this is when I would have died anyway. And I think that that is on some unconscious level, on some, my body started to respond to that before I knew what was going on. And so I started getting a lot of my energy back. And so that's been kind of an interesting journey in and of itself. I've also reconnected. I've restarted another, kind of session, so to speak. Come back to working with deities again. That was something that, a lot of you who maybe we used to watch the Scarlet Moon Magic channel, or even earlier, much earlier, back in the Scarlet Moon days, that I worked with deities, in particular the goddess Brigid, goddess Bast, goddess of cats, and I also work with Hern. And my relationship with deities, and when I do and when I don't work with deities, that's always been kind of an on and off kind of thing anyway. Sometimes it'd be 3 or 4 years on, and then 3 or 4 years off, and then 3 or 4 years on, 3 or 4 years off. We kind of tapered off. And sometimes your deities will do that for a while. They will step back, and you will be on your own as a spiritual practitioner, as a magical practitioner. You will be your own force, and that is a part of your growth. And then every once in a while they'll come back. I will talk about working with deities here in another video here pretty soon, and go into greater descriptions of mine, but that's been a part of what I've been working on. And things have been, a lot easier. And even better, actually. I'm kind of coming off of a strange sort of 3-4 day high, which I have no explanation for. I've actually felt energetically, spiritually, physically better between the 16th and the 19th of December than I'm going to say I've felt in maybe 5 or 6 years. It could be them, could be a lot of other things going on, but holy crap, it's night and day compared to where I was, say, in October, or, even, 2019. It's just bizarre. It's strange to talk about it now because not a lot of people knew what was going on with Persephone um, in the months of August and September. And I have been a little bit careful about sharing too much, especially in the immediate aftermath, just because I have been always a little bit leery when it comes to delicate situations, and opening up to share and receive energy with just anybody and everybody. And maybe it's not really something that people like to talk about because it can make people feel a bit insecure or uncomfortable, but the online spiritual world, again, and you've heard me say it before, is not what it used to be. And people are not really all that careful with qualifying what energy they are putting out there. And I was not gonna, when Persephone was sick, I didn't want to open up the energy to people, sending healing, but really all they were doing was just sending their fears and their sorrows and their hopes and what they were going through and what was going on in their space. I didn't want that. And after that, I didn't want any kind of energetic heaviness to impede on the effort I was making to stay as close to the veil as possible, which is basically where I was. I didn't want to leave that spot. And that's not uncommon, for people who are familiar with death and for people who are familiar with tragedy and things like that, and mourning and grieving. You'll get what I'm about to say. I'm the kind of person where when a loved one dies, all I want to do with my personal time is either be near people who were close to the person who passed away, or people who are in a place where they understand death and they understand or have some wisdom to share or an inclination to explore the phenomena of spirit after transitioning a physical body, right? Life beyond the veil. And so, and as a medium, of course, I can, I've been able to finagle some of my own ways to, keep at least her number, so to speak. But, that's kind of where I was. And in the beginning, I had made some efforts to kind of open up, not like online, but with just, around here locally. And it did not go well. It did not go well at all. There were people who were kind of just, let's just put it this way. The self-proclaimed empaths who can't read the room were, they kind of decided that my mourning was going to be an opportunity for them to process their mourning. Like, oh crap, this is an invasive, like forced support group moment, which is what I don't want. And, or the people who would say like, well, the cat shelter is always looking for, new cat parents. And it's like, you call yourself an empath and you don't realize how soon that is? I hate everybody. I hate you all so much. But now we're kind of at this solstice point, right? We're at the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere. We're approaching the darkest day of the year. And what this marks is the bottom of the underworld journey that begins with the September equinox, right? There is a descent. And then once you hit the bottom with the winter solstice, or the descent, at least in the northern hemisphere in December, for those of you in the southern hemisphere, that'll happen in June. And then once you hit the winter solstice bottom, you go up and you begin your ascent until you kind of come out of the cave, so to speak, in February with Imbolc. And so I was thinking, okay, well, this would be a time to share. This would be a time to open up. When it comes to the winter solstice, right, we are getting a chance to finally clear the darkest depths of ourselves, as well as also, between now and February, commence with the process of resolution. Now, resolution, when I use that term, I'm not talking necessarily about New Year's resolutions, but I'm talking about resolution in terms of resolving what you wish to resolve so that when you do emerge, you do not take it with you. There are other ways to look at resolutions. Sometimes, yeah, you are resolving to make something happen. And I've got a few resolutions that I definitely want to make happen, as we go through this coming year. But the solstice resolution that I am, maintaining for myself is, okay, what do I want to wrap up and resolve? Now, it has nothing to do with letting go of Persephone and just kind of, la la la, life is a new day. That's not going to happen. I don't do that. I feel like that in and of itself can, if you're, that's no good. That could be pretty unhealthy when people kind of do that. But I'm talking about resolution of maybe the inner conflict that I have about everything that's happened this year. The resolution of the crossroads experience that I've been at in my life, and really reconnecting with my deities. That's one thing I'm doing now. I've reestablished altars. I've already been making offerings daily. Bast, of course, is guarding is enshrined near the photographs of my babies. And so everything is kind of coming together, in a really good way. I've had some very strange experiences also kind of show me where I'm going to go this next year. One of the first things that, let's just say, Persephone did as a visitation, and I've had dreams of her. She's visited me in dreams. I've seen her apparition around the house, all kinds of fun stuff, and I've talked to her. But one of the most interesting things that she's done, and there's a lot of synchronicity involved in this, which I'll go into maybe never, but the opportunity to take on a job showed up for me. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm running off of YouTube. The job is to be an instructor at a college for wizards. So for those of you who are familiar with the Grey School of Wizardry, I have accepted a job offer, and so I am now a faculty member of their divination department, and so I'm going to be teaching classes there. We're in the middle of, getting bios and all of that kind of stuff up, so, stay tuned. A more formal announcement will be on the way. But what's kind of bizarre about the entire thing is that in one of my communications with Persephone, which this would have been probably mid-November, I remembered asking her very plainly, hey, could you give me a sign, and that, you could give me some kind of direction in that sign as to what you would like to see me do next, and I will do it. And so she said, 24 hours. 24 hours, you'll see. And then 24 hours, the opportunity came. Okay, this is exactly what I've been wanting to do. I love to teach. I'll be doing it online for the most part, obviously, but it's based out in the Northeast, in upstate New York. Once I started communicating with the college, this cat that looked exactly like Persephone started showing up in front of my house, and as soon as the ball started getting rolling, I knew. I was like, okay, this is what you're guiding me to do next. This is what you want me to incorporate. I'm in. A week later, after some interviews, some talks, just kind of make sure you get the feelers right, do the background checks, sign the contract, and bam, everything's moving. So, like I said, more official announcements, and if you would like to check out the college, they're in the middle of doing a big overhaul on their website right now when it comes to their class interface and things like that. And so that's going to be all up and good to go on the 1st of January. So again, this is kind of like a teaser that I'm working in for those of you who, stuck through this video so far. More official announcement coming soon. But I think it's really going to make a difference. I've already started engaging on their Discord server, getting to, meet other faculty members and prefects of the school, and, chat with the headmaster, and, really kind of get down to business with some, contemporaries in the world of wizardry. And it's just awesome. They've got a divination department. They've got a wart cunning department. They've got a defense against the dark arts department. It's just freaking awesome. So I can't wait. They do have events out in upstate New York, so maybe I'll be out that way sometime, or maybe more than once. So yeah, that's basically what it's been like for me this last few months, and it's starting to feel like it's been months, which is a sign of progress, because up until about Thanksgiving, I hadn't moved on from probably the day. And again, a lot of people, I think, have been noticing that as well. And a lot of people have been kind of asking, even over on Son of Selene, like, there's something different about your face. There's something different about your look. What's going on? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of a shell of a man right now. Like, you're getting readings that are way more in depth, and even clients, it's like, look, you're just getting the pure psychic, the pure medium here. The Nico ego is gone right now. Again, coming back together, but just kind of coming out of that process, out of my own personal descent, as it were, because I don't want to, like I said, because I didn't want to run from this, but I also didn't want it to be public. I didn't want to welcome a bunch of chaotic, dysregulated energies into this situation. And I didn't want anyone to, let's just say, get some kind of supply from being present for my sorrows. And I wasn't going to let that happen to me, and I would never let that happen to her, or any of that happen in that way. It would be a debasement and a defilement. And so I've been just very, very careful with that. But yeah, no, things are easier. And, I am in a better place than I was. Heck, I'm in a better place than I was 2 weeks ago. Nevertheless, being in a better place, over the course of the last 2.5 months, I guess it's been about 2 months since I've actually put a video up on this channel. I do want to maybe come back and talk a little bit more about solstice in very short-term future, but understand that we are entering a season of the solstice, so you don't have to do anything directly on the day. And there are plenty of resources out there online that you also have access to, if you are in that space where you're kind of like, well, I want to do something now. So you can go, of course, and research and think about what you want to take on there. I'll put up a bit more about what I tend to do around this time of year. Probably close enough that it could still be actionable and still be workable. But yeah, for now, this is just what I felt like putting up today. So thank you again, everybody, for coming in and having a listen. And I thank you to all of you who have been sending your love and your warm wishes. And thank you to everyone who has been sending their condolences. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's time to move forward. That's how I like to look at it. Our loved ones who pass away are just going where those of us who are wizards, who are witches, who are psychics, who are, divine practitioners of all things magical and mystical are simply trying to go in form.